because this intersects my interest that I don't really get to talk about on the channel that much, which is sports. I love sports, guys. I'm a big sports enjoyer. Basketball is my favorite sport, and this so happens to be Jaden Ivey, former Detroit Pistons guard. Very, very fun to watch. Loved him when he was in Detroit. He's fast and athletic and fun. He hurt his leg diving for a ball against the Orlando Magic, and Cole Anthony snapped his leg in half. And he hasn't really been the same since, but I think it was prior to that Jaden Ivey was a little weird. I'm going to be honest with you. Since we drafted him, since the Detroit Pistons drafted, you can see I got my Detroit Pistons, or no, it's the Tigers. Never mind. I thought it was my Pistons thing. It was the Tigers one instead. But you get me. I'm real. It's a real thing. I love all the sports. I think Jaden Ivey has been kind of a weird guy forever, and it's not like 98% been that he's a Christian, and like 2% of it is he's a young guy who got rich quick, and his mom was in the WNBA, so he probably has a little bit of a I should be here thing, even though he kind of is. It's not really certain that he should be here. So, to catch you up on the drama is after his injury, he didn't play for a while, naturally, right? He healed up, came back to the Pistons, and as young players in the NBA, typically it is in the team's best interest to keep control of your contract for the first 4 years, and then after that extend you because due to some financial rules in the NBA, you can usually control a player longer and make them play in your city for a long period of time because you can offer them more money. Not make them, but persuade them to play in your city for longer because you can pay them more monies. But what happened instead is they traded Jaden Ivey for a guy that they are not going to keep long term, Kevin Huerter, who is fine and good. Red Velvet for my NBA fans out there. He's fine. He's not as fun as Jaden Ivey at all, but he is, I think, he's just a better basketball player. I do not think he's got higher potential or is more athletic or is even more fun to watch. I just think he's a better basketball player. He's got a better basketball IQ, as they say, and we don't have to get into it. What happened is he got traded to the Chicago Bulls. You may have heard the Chicago Bulls from hit movie Space Jam and Michael Jordan, most famous basketball guy ever for my non-basketball enjoyers, right? So he got traded to the Bulls, and this is all this year. And then what happened is he went on Instagram Live, and he has sort of been crashing out recently, sort of saying some weird shit. We don't have to watch all of his Instas. But in this particular one, he got fired today from the Chicago Bulls for this. So he's just driving, which is a crazy look for anybody. This is just a weird angle.
Right? They proclaim Pride Month in the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month.
So you could hear there's a little distress in his voice, even it sounds like emotional about it. So you can see that right off the jump. If you watch any of my content ever, I'm talking about usually people that are ignorant to the civil rights issues of our day, and that of course includes LGBTQ plus rights, which are just people trying to self-express and in this world of free expression, which they should be able to. They're trying to love freely whoever they love, and they're trying to be themselves, and I don't see any problem with it, and neither should you. Jaden Ivey, a hardcore Christian, just like all of the rest, absolutely do have a problem.
To celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it.
Now, I remember there was a Fox News person. Which one was it? Was it one of the Fox News ladies? She told LeBron James to just shut up and dribble. Apparently, that is only in the case of left-wing views. And I won't even say LeBron James is left-wing. I'm pretty sure he's just said 2 weeks ago, he's like, oh, I want to go to Israel someday. Not exactly the wokest guy of our generation, but I do think to some extent the notion of every guy needs to have the Instagram video. We have to go on live, and I'm a little bit of a hypocrite here, but I've been doing this for a long, long time. And frankly, prior to this being a major problem for just every guy doing it, it used to be only guys who thought they could do this would do this, right? Only guys with thoughts. Now it's just dudes. they're actively just sort of like mouth vomiting their current train of thought without having considered the topic prior, except through, of course, I guess, a biblical lens. So this is this guy torching his fucking career on fire, which is crazy.
They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness.
Yeah, I can't imagine being anti-gay is super popular in NBA locker rooms, which, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they have plenty of, in fact, I know several of the players have chud ideas. There are several of them that are misinformed. MPJ comes to mind, Michael Porter Jr., dumbass. Jonathan Isaac comes to mind. Kyrie Irving, although less in this regard, I think. I don't think he's homophobic. He could be, but he's a flat earther and stuff. So anyway, being gay is apparently unrighteous, which I don't think non-religious gay people give a fuck about. I mean, sure, whatever. It's not righteous or whatever. So I don't know what Jaden Ivey has issues with being gay. My suspicion is, having heard him talk on some other subjects from time to time, is that his personal experience with like sexuality and male spaces has not always been a positive one, and so he attributes negative experiences to like being gay or the LGBTQ community, whereas I mean that's really not the case.
So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that you man, this man is crazy?
I personally would love to talk to Jaden Ivey about this. I don't think he would ever agree to it. I would, though. I, you know, for all intents and purposes, am a fan of his work on the basketball court. Obviously, vehemently disagree with him in this regard. But I mean, like when I hear him, I hear a guy trying to sound like he's biblical or something. They say that a man cannot, like, he doesn't actually normally speak like this. He can't speak righteously. And also, I see a guy who is pretty insecure and doesn't really know his worldview very much. Like, he definitely seems like he wants to know his worldview and is trying very hard to make it a biblical one. But obviously, you know, that runs counter to, like, modernity and in more ways than one. Obviously, socially, but, like, just the knowledge we have is much more vast than guys did in ancient Bronze Age Judea. So, you know. Doesn't even the world make judgments on certain things? Yeah, man, he sounds distressed here, though, right? Like, he sounds upset.
So how is it when the gospel is preached that people hate it?
Well, as a guy who does not believe in the gospel, the context in which Christians preach the gospel is almost always this kind of shit, where it's hateful and telling other people that they need to live a very specific way in order for, you know, certain outcomes to happen. Don't go to hell or whatever. So you're being antisocial, and that's why. It's the same thing. Like, the reason you feel bad is the reason that you're making other people feel bad. Everybody is telling you you're wrong, and that the way you're living your life is not good for you. They're telling you that the way that they're choosing to live their lives is good for them, and that you should choose a different path. And you don't like it either. So if you could empathize with that position for a second, we're all on equal footing, right? We're all telling each other, no, actually, I have the answer, and you're wrong, right? That's what I think. As an atheist, I'm definitely saying that. If you're a Christian, I have the answers that you want about cosmology. I can answer all your questions, and you'll come away eventually safe and with solid footing under you that God isn't real and that you've never needed it, you know, him, it, this entity before. You've always done it yourself. Like, Jaden Ivey didn't make the NBA because Jesus blessed him or whatever, and he said that a lot. Like, I've watched a lot of Pistons games. If he would be talked to in between quarters or at the end of a game because he's playing well or the Pistons are winning or whatever, or maybe they're not, he would always say, like, all glory to God, you know, and shit like that first, which is, you know, part of the psychology of being a Christian. Like, he sees it as a virtuous act. Other Christians see that as a virtuous act, and that's why. Because socially, he needs to virtue signal to other people that he's Christian, and that's what this is about. Because if he doesn't do that, he is insecure in himself, and he doesn't know who he is if he isn't a Christian. And that's how a lot of Christians are. Like, their identity is Christianity. It isn't themselves. And so they resent a little bit the idea that someone can find themselves more important than this identity. But, you know, how can you possibly say then that everybody else has to adopt it?
That people don't want to hear it, and they think it's strange.
It is strange.
When someone preaches the gospel, the true gospel.
God didn't.
I don't know what the true gospel is. Isn't that kind of purposely public display of faith blasphemous to them? No.
Not make a man to be with a man.
Why?
How God did not make a girl to be with a girl.
That's because he didn't make any of them.
God made a man for the purpose of procreation.
Your only purpose is procreation? You know what I mean? Like, so as an atheist and as someone who understands our material reality, it's very easy to understand why sexual reproduction exists in human beings. If you understand sexual reproduction and what those words actually mean from a scientific perspective, like a biological perspective, and like you understand that like dogs fucking do this too and plants do this. They have sexual reproduction. This is just a way that life has evolved to exchange genetic code and propagate. So, like, yeah, I like fucking or whatever, but it's not. God doesn't, you know, make sure my cum saturates the eggs good. You know what I mean? It's not about that. It's sex is just a biological function, and we as creatures who have been able to think ourselves higher than biology can, in fact, like act in counter to it. Like, we don't always have to just fucking procreate. You can if you want.
To have another child. How else? How can a woman? How can a woman bear a child with a woman?
In vitro? Lesbians are moms all the time together. You can also adopt. You don't have to create a woman. You don't, like, the act of procreation does not make a relationship valid, and for you to frame it like that as, this guy, by the way, is a very young dad, and I don't think he would be like that if he wasn't a Christian. Like, that sucks. Pretty much every Christian is pushed to mate and procreate very early. Luckily, he comes from a family of capitalist means, and because his mom was a professional athlete, I think his dad was too, and he is, right? And he got a college education, which he didn't use apparently, at Purdue, which was also very fun to watch at basketball. But, apparently he just took religious studies and nothing else, or didn't pay attention. I don't know.
How? Unless they go to the doctor and it can't happen physically.
He doesn't even fucking know what he's talking about.
They have the same.
Okay, so if we invent lesbians can fucking cream pie each other. I just invented new porn. Probably not. That's probably a thing. We just invented it. Girl cum TM. Like, it's, are you going to be opposed or whatever? Why does it matter, man?
Body part. They cannot I
thought they could with like bone marrow somehow. Well, they can make a DNA and splice together and have two mothers, and then they can fertilize that egg with like, essentially you can CRISPR this down to make like, not like blanks, but like, you can edit the DNA to make sure that you have what you want. I don't give a fuck.
bear children.
Yeah, it's not about bearing children at all. The classic argument to a Christian is, if a heterosexual couple cannot conceive children, is it okay for them to be together? And they go, yeah, that's God's will. Okay, well, it's God's will that, these two ladies want to fucking love each other, and they want a family. I don't care. I just don't care.
Unless they get something done, right? So God didn't make that to be God didn't make a woman.
Okay, well, God didn't make the surgery that fixed your fucking broken tibia. But you got that twisted ass leg fixed, didn't you? Yeah, because we can intervene. Dumb motherfucker. God, that's so stupid. I guess because God said that you should snap your fucking leg like a twig, we should just leave it there. No, of course not. We take medical intervention so that you don't have to go through unnecessary pain and suffering, which would have been, in the Bronze Age, necessary pain and suffering, because there would be nothing they could do besides like fucking try to keep it still. Like, okay, we'll fucking put it, I don't know, maybe rearrange it sideways, give this guy crutches later. It's going to heal fucking crazy. God's plan was for him not to play basketball. Well, that's going to be the cope eventually, because he's not going to. I mean, that's not true. He'll get a few more chances. He's just, obviously going to think himself out of the fucking league, though. This happens for some guys.
For a woman. No, he made a woman for the man.
He made the woman for the man. I don't think so. No. Why does a woman have to be a possession? Does he talk down to his mother like this? Probably fucking not.
That's why, that's exactly what God made. He made things good. He made the trees.
He made the trees. The trees also sexually reproduce.
He made the sun.
He made the sun. How? Just the sun?
If the sun was ever closer, we would burn.
What do you mean? It gets closer and further due to our elliptical orbit all the time. Not true. We get thousands of miles closer and further away from it all the time, like throughout the year.
But he made it in the proper place so that we
go. Okay. He made it in the proper place. Well, I guess fuck Mars and Venus and everybody.
We get the proper light. And
so fine tuning is really stupid. I don't know that he's ever heard a counter argument to this because, I mean, like many professional athletes, he's basically just been bouncing balls since he was a kid. And like I said, apparently not paying attention in school because he is really taken to this Jesus stuff. It is quite explainable why humanity exists. We are not finely tuned. If we were, we could live on most of the world. Like, wouldn't you think if we were finely tuned, we'd be amphibious? Like, for real. I think if a Christian is honest with themselves, it would be better for human beings to be amphibious on Earth. I'm 100% correct. Most of the world is water. You'd have a much easier... Drowning would be no problem. So, what's the problem there? Why do I need to shit? Why would God make a system in which I couldn't be 100% efficient when I eat an apple? How am I shitting any of an apple? Yet I persist. Why can my body not absorb that? They don't know. It's easily explainable if we're animals that evolved on Earth like everything else. It's very hard to explain if you go, I know that we have obvious biological similarities and overlap and even DNA proof of the existence of our intermingling with the DNA of animals, but we're actually special things set apart from them, and God made us that way. Fucking testing rats and getting pig fucking pancreases put on us.
Today, he made the grass.
He made the grass. Why would God make dinosaurs and then kill them off? I don't know if Jaden Ivey believes in dinosaurs.
He gave us water to drink. If we didn't have water to drink, we would be dehydrated.
That's super funny. If he didn't give us water to drink, we would be dehydrated. That might be a clip. That's fucking funny, dude. That's so funny. Jaden, if you see this, I would love to talk to you about why you're wrong. I could save your career. I can help save your career. And it comes with attaching yourself to the reality you live in. I really can. The spectrum of sports, guys, man. I know. You get some really smart dudes and then shit like this. I mean, it's just because the sample size of professional athletes is just like everywhere else. All you got to do is be a sicko for the sport. There's no other prerequisite. I thought you were kidding earlier, but he really didn't use any of that education. I know, right? So anyway, we need water because the earth is covered in water and we evolved from it. We came up out of the oceans, the original organisms that we have common ancestry with, came up out of the water, and we are literally, and this is not a joke, we are evolved sort of fish that carry our water with us and we use it to respirate. When you breathe in oxygen from the air, right, which already has some moisture with it. It inflates in your chest, and then your blood, which is water, carries through into your lungs. They get their platelet, the red blood cells get oxygen so that they can continue to respirate and keep energy moving around your body, keep yourself moving. Hydration, all your other nutrients, everything that happens. By the way, that you're just a fish carrying your water around with you. It's really neat. Like, we just carried it out of the land. That was the way that biology was like, okay, so I need water. How do I exist outside of a body of water? And it wasn't like that conscious, but it really did like accidentally solve this problem because there was more, creatures that could live for a little bit and get nutrients on land that didn't have as many, didn't have any predators, was more likely to survive because it could have more, less selection pressure than in a the puddle, the seas filled with predators that didn't have access to the land. And then they got out, and then they started to eat stuff. And then based on, this is literally just how Darwin's fucking finches worked. Can you imagine that happening all over the world in different parts of the ocean, on different beaches, in different places with different organisms and different foods? And you can just see evolution doing the same thing over and over until suddenly now things are on land and on water. But if your God isn't smart enough to make that elegant system, I don't even get it. I don't understand why a Christian would even be against saying, oh, God didn't create the elegant solution to biology with evolution. Like, I would buy that more. I mean, it still doesn't, it's just a totally pointless thing to add to the cosmology of the universe. There's no evidence for this creature to exist. He just gets out.
God is faithful. And Jesus bless y'all.
Jesus bless y'all. Anyway, he's fired now. So the Bulls just waived him, which is when they say, okay, you're not on the team anymore, and they get rid of his contract, and he gets like a payout or whatever. Conduct detrimental is what they're saying to the team because he was saying homophobic shit. So I'm assuming he's not going to get all his money, but we'll see. He's not even the worst guy on the Bulls. Josh Giddey is worse. Look up Josh Giddey. It's okay. I would love to talk to any Christian that has problems with socializing with normal people. If you're homophobic and it's because of your religion, you should talk to me. Especially if you're like, well, I don't really want to be homophobic. Are there any people that are homophobic and they're like they don't want to be? That could be interesting. Like, do you ever feel weary of the hate that you're constantly told you have to share with everybody else? Because right-wingers and Christians, which are usually the same thing in this culture, I mean, you really do spend most of your time doing exactly that, like if we're honest. So why do you do that? Why do you feel the need? I'd love to talk to you about it. Boomers are like that. That's true. Yeah, Laura Ingraham said that to LeBron, or about LeBron, because she was racist, yes. I think that was actually about Black Lives Matter also. But yeah, Jaden Ivey is just wrong. I don't think he should shut up and dribble. I think he should shut up and read a book and maybe talk to somebody else.